I knew that this was such a huge moment because on Monday at work, like regular construction workers were talking about Will Smith.
You should have started with me just slapping you for saying LeBron.
I don't care what Amir says. Do not give up on your dreams, man. Do not give up.
Surrender your dreams to the dark side.
Yeah,
see, you guys love this stuff, dude. This like catch him off guard, like start it when he doesn't know it. That's how we used to do it. Used meaning past tense. I need to hear the drop. No, I'm just playing.
You're listening to Angel and the Advocate, a podcast with licensed contractor Angel Chavez and California licensed attorney and advocate Amir Afsar.
We should have started with me just slapping you for saying LeBron. I came up with a phrase a long time ago, which goes something like this, like sticks and stones will break your bones, but the lawsuit after will wreck you. Being an attorney, a lot of times everything comes back to like, you can sue someone if they did that. Everyone's like, oh, Will Smith, he assaulted him. Okay, so first of all, it's battery. Assault is the act of doing something to like scare someone. So like if you like, like I could say like 2 for flinching, right? When you like act like you're gonna hit someone and they flinch, that's assault, putting like the fear of the strike in someone, right? Battery is the actual contact. So do you have assault? Yes, but you have assault and battery here with Will Smith with his open hand making contact. Obviously, I think this is a horrible precedent as someone who's a big fan of free speech, generally speaking. Obviously we can't be using our hands to silence the person that's speaking, right? We shouldn't be really using anything in many cases to silence the speaker. I mean, that's what free speech is all about from my viewpoint. I think there's also an interesting recognition that needs to be made with the fact that he like open hand slapped that guy. You know what I mean? Like, dude, the disrespect is heavy there with that, I feel like. And I'm a Chris Rock fan. I think I definitely lost some respect for Will Smith in that. I lost some respect when he did the genie from Aladdin too, shout out. But that was a small thing. I was able to move on because I think he did a pretty good job with it, all things being fair. Apology was a little bit hollow, like written by a PR person. He had earned that great night. He had earned a night.
He was already nominated for an Oscar.
He had earned a night to be celebrated. And the only thing worse than like somebody else stealing your light is like you screwing up so bad that you steal your own light. And I feel like that's kind of what happened. Like we should be here talking about how like, the guy from Men in Black, the guy from Bad Boys, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like, just the laundry list of the things that he's done. And instead we're like, yo, he slapped Chris Rock.
He kind of saved the Oscar ratings though, because the Oscar ratings have been in decline since the last like 10 years because people don't really care about the movies anymore. It feels like Hollywood got too political, filling up boxes instead of actually giving it to the best.
Do you think this really is going to make their ratings go up? You think people are going to like tune in next year for the slap?
Not for next year, but this year even. Like I knew that this was such a huge moment because on Monday at work, just regular construction workers were talking about Will Smith. My mom, my dad were talking about Will Smith. Like no one ever said, "Oh, Green Book won Best Picture" or whatever. Like no.
Yeah. So who won Best Actress? Do you know?
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm not so sure this is good for the Oscars.
No, but it's good for Chris Rock though, because Chris Rock was now super professional,
and
that was some of the best that he could have done. Like he literally stood there, he tried to make he made a joke out of it.
He's got a chin, bro. He's got a
chin.
I heard he's going MMA soon.
He's in front of millions of people. We need a celebrity boxing match: Will Smith versus Chris
Dana
Rock.
White set it up.
So Chris Rock's actually coming here to the Valley like in 2 weeks. I kind of want to go see him just to see what he's going to say.
Just shout him out. Take Brandon Lee. You know who Brandon Lee is? There's I don't know about young, but up and coming boxer. He's pretty young. To me, he's a kid, man.
Yeah.
But he's a young up and coming boxer doing big things. Frankly, coming out of Indio. Brandon Lee, check him out. Take Brandon with you and say like, oh, you could take a shot from Will Smith. Try my guy Brandon Lee. Brandon's like a knockout artist too. He's got some heavy hands. So definitely, if you're into boxing and don't know who that is, check him out because he's definitely Indio, a local kid. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think an emphasis needs to be put on the fact that like we really don't handle our problems like this. It shouldn't matter if you're, Will Smith or Bill Smith, right? That's just not an appropriate way to do things. I personally think about like almost every arena, almost every business has a situation or situations arise where you're not going to agree with your employees, or you're not going to agree with your customers, or your customers not going to agree with you. And I just can't imagine a world where we're just going to be like, all right, slap. Like that's just not a good precedent. So I think it's important. It's just important to recognize as like a civilized society, we can't handle things like that. And I think obviously most people see that, but when I hear people kind of making excuses for the physical contact, it's a little hard for me. Like the lawyer in me is like, nah, we don't really allow that. Those excuses.
There was people on Twitter saying, oh, he stood up for his wife. He's defending his wife's honor. That's what you should do to protect like your family or whatever. But it's like he's making a joke. He's a comedian. You're a public figure. and then they have an open relationship. He doesn't care like other people are sleeping with his wife.
Whoa. I mean, I don't know about that, right?
I'm just saying.
See, people like to say that, but it's not like the dude that was sleeping with his wife got up there and started saying a bunch of...
Yeah, he should have slapped that dude, not Chris Rock. Chris Rock just making a joke. Like,
no, but okay, I get what you're saying, but like, I guess more than, to be honest with you, you know, according to my theory, he really shouldn't be slapping that guy that slept with his wife either. You know what I mean? Like, that is not the way to do it. But I mean, there's a lot of pressure on these guys, and that's just not an excuse. And it's interesting to me that when he gave his speech, he talked about like how he's in this profession where people get to talk bad about him. We're all in that profession now. I don't know if you heard of Yelp. You know, I don't know if you heard of like Angie's List again getting a shout out. But I mean, you know, Google reviews. I mean, we're all subject to like other people's opinion, other people's views, good, bad, and otherwise. I mean, that's just part of being alive in today's society. You know,
we're all connected somewhere.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, Chris,
not like the 70s, you just get away with everything.
Yeah, and I mean, I think about prior hosts of the Oscars, like Richard Gervais in particular. He went heavy on some of the roast stuff. You know, I think he was making jokes about everybody being friends with Jeffrey Epstein, and I know he went to Epstein Island, and I mean, his jokes were hitting harder than Chris Rock's little G.I. Jane thing. So, I mean, look, I think Will Smith was under a great deal of pressure. I don't think that's a good enough excuse. But at the end of the day, I think it kind of, whatever reason it got to him, whether it's Jada's look or the joke or something snapped in that moment. And he'll probably be regretting it for, like, I don't know, let's say the rest of his life, or at least until the next, if there's a next Oscar.
But is there, when we talked about 2 podcasts ago, is there such thing as bad publicity now? Because Will Smith's name was everywhere like the last 3 days. Like, we're talking about it. I've told you, everybody's talking about Will Smith. He'll have like a redemption type of career, I think, like taking it to the next level. Because it felt like the last 5-6 years, like Will Smith's career kind of went downhill when he made some Netflix like fairy movie.
You think he wasn't going to win the Oscar last night if he didn't slap Chris Rock? So how can you say his career can't be on the downside if you're like about to win the Oscar, right?
I mean, yeah, but nobody really cared for Will Smith movies. Like, it's been nothing but bad movies.
I mean, he's got big followings on like social media. He's evolved his following into his son's following.
I understand. He's still around, of course, it's Will Smith. But one, he took a big hit with the whole Augusta and the whole entanglement thing. Like, people lost respect for him there, and he was taking all these movies that felt like it was just cash grab. Like, right with the King Richard, of course, there's a good serious role.
Sure.
And maybe he had like the concussion movie that was a good role, but everything else was like the what was that name on Netflix? It was one where it was like a buddy cop movie, but there was like fairies. It was like in LA. Exactly.
Fairies, I don't know.
It was a terrible movie. Then he had like those movies he was trying to make Jaden Smith into like a big actor. So like the After Earth movie flopped. The Genie movie was just terrible. And then now he won an Oscar, and now everyone's talking about him. So I feel like he's kind of like a villain, even though he apologized, whatever. I think his career is going to take off from bigger heights.
I don't agree with most of that. I think maybe I see Will Smith a little bit differently than that. I mean, I agree. I think every actor's career goes through ebbs and flows, especially when you have some monster hits like he did. Like, I'm talking back
90s,
in the Men in Black and stuff. I mean, Independence Day. When you hit like monster shots like that, there's no way you can keep that up, right? So you're gonna have things that come down. Obviously, I also, as a parent, frankly, I don't put any shame or any dirt on his name for trying to put his son on, right?
Yeah.
It worked a little bit better, obviously, on the music side of things, which is obviously something else we haven't talked about when it comes to his fame too.
Shout out to Will Smith and Jaden Smith.
Yeah, I mean, right?
My YouTube channel thanks you.
Yeah, you in particular, right? But I mean, I don't think of him. I mean, any amount of fall off that existed was falling off from such an extreme height that he still was like, way up there, right? And I think that's proven by the Concussion movie, and I think even more so by this Richard Williams, right? This King Richard movie, which obviously that's what's leading to him getting the kudos. He was going to sit front row at the Oscars all night. He was going to congratulate every single person that won because he had that prime spot all night. I think he soiled his name. I think he made a mistake. I think in that little bit of moment of pressure, I don't know what's going on with his marriage and all that stuff. I really try hard not to comment on anybody's marriage and that stuff because that stuff's just impossible. But whatever is happening there, whatever's going on in his life, I think he snapped or whatever. I think Chris Rock, frankly, thought the joke wasn't that big of a deal, wasn't that bad, and that's like why he didn't protect himself, get ready. I think he probably thought like Will Smith was going to tell him something. You know, it's almost he leaned forward like, what? And then you got whack.
I know he had his hands behind his back.
Yeah.
Like, you did not expect, especially you're in live TV, you don't expect that.
Plus, like last I checked, like Will Smith doesn't have to cuss on his, albums to sell records.
Yeah.
But I do. So anyway, right? I mean, the Eminem line, he's literally like kind of a poster boy for like the clean cut. Yeah. So I don't know. And I mean, I'm gonna push this in a little bit of a different angle. All right. There's pressure, I believe, on people who are successful to kind of go the next step, to like get to the next step. And this goes back to that Kanye West principle from our first episode, where like there's this idea that you have to be more than just the actor. You need to be like the movie production company. You got to be more than just the artist. You got to be the stream device maker. And then, when all this happened, I'm not going to lie, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about how catchy that Jaden Smith song was, the Icon, right? And so, I was like, hey, Alexa, play, Icon, right? I think I even called it Icon Living, right? Like, that's what I hear
I hear that. That's not the name was. For
yeah. Oh, okay. So that's what I hear. So when Alexa starts playing it, then you start hearing the lyrics, right? And the lyrics are basically Jaden saying, in my opinion, a lot of the things that Kanye West is saying. Like, I'm gonna make a record label. I just did it, and like Misfits, right? And then he's like, I'm gonna make a movie. I'm gonna make a movie independent. I'm gonna have rap tracks independent. Well, what does independent mean? It means like he's gonna do it himself. Like he doesn't want to utilize the system that exists, right? He's gonna make his own label. He's gonna make his own tracks. He's gonna make his own movies. His father was a rapper in the music industry. His father was an actor in the music industry. The next step, if there is a next step, is to be the industry, to be the movie label, to be the record label, to be like the content production, not the content itself, right? And so I think there's some real pressure for like the Smith enterprise, probably placed on themselves by themselves, to be that next big thing. And so, if you want to be an icon living, if you listen to that first verse, right, it's very much what Kanye West like says and gets blasted for saying. But it seems to me like Jaden Smith isn't just saying it and rapping it, singing it, he's living it. And that's got to add all kinds of levels of pressure.
Yeah, it's the evolution of the artist now, especially you can't just be one thing. So Will Smith was trying to stay relevant by doing all those things. So I'm talking about not the enterprise, but like how Will Smith, you mentioned, how do you transition from being the superstar and staying relevant with the new generation? So he started a vlogging series on YouTube gets millions of views. Then he started a TikTok account where he does, people edit his videos for him, but he blew up his TikTok account. So he's trying to stay relevant by creating content, and it's also starring all these like blockbuster movies. And part of the whole family, everything's kind of connected with them. You have the family, they promote. It's kind of like the Kardashians too. They promote each other's like brands. Sure. So you have the family, Jada Pinkett Smith. Then you have the sister Willow's an actress. She's an actress and she's a model, like a supermodel. She does like all this runway stuff.
Sure.
And
she flips her hair back and forth. Right?
They're also doing trends. Like she actually performed the same night at Coachella. So she came out and performed like 3-4 songs with Jade. And so it's like
they're all talented as heck.
Yeah. Yeah. Just you grow up being surrounded by that stuff.
But there would be less pressure if they were each trying to just be, their own actor, actress, model, whatever, and not actually trying to do the Kanye step of being the icon living, industry, right? Like, I think there's added pressure there. And again, none of this excuses walking up there and slapping the guy. I'm just saying I think there's some, interesting, symmetrical viewpoints when it comes to someone like Will Smith who has lived in the public eye for so long that maybe has recognized this as a move, and someone like Kanye West who like kind of calls himself like the, today's Steve Jobs or today's Walt Disney, but he sees a similar thing. At the end of the day, I think they're both seeing the same thing. That like if you want to take the next step, you have to become the industry, not just be like a player in the industry. And I just think that's a very interesting. It's just another way to look at the experience that all these different people have. Will Smith's obviously been living a celebrity life for a very long time. I don't know how you could, it's got to be hard to keep in touch with just like reality when you've been Will Smith. Like, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was like a long time ago. I was a kid watching that stuff, and I'm the old guy on the podcast now, right? So, it's just how it is.
And we're still talking about him 40 years later, Yeah,
it's because I believe he continues to make, good to decent
It's what
stuff.
we never saw with like previous celebrities. So other celebrities like Elvis or the Beatles or Michael Jackson, like they got to be so big worldwide, and they're icons themselves, but they never created that industry that these new generation of artists are creating.
Sure, there's also something to be said when you're a multi-faceted artist. Like, I think of like Bo Jackson being more famous because he played football and baseball. So you're getting fans, like people like me who like football but don't necessarily like baseball. I know who Bo Jackson is still, right?
Yeah.
And people who like baseball but don't necessarily like football, they know who Bo Jackson is. And if you like both, of course, you know who he is too, right? I think of Will Smith the same way because, he has his rap career, so to speak, right? With, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, right? and then, I mean, even when he dropped DJ Jazzy Jeff and it was just, doing the whole Will Smith thing with like, Miami and all those kind of like poppy hits or whatever, right? But then he also has his movie career, which has a significant number of hits, just like his kind of music career. So his fame is like exponential because of the dual industry of it, right?
Yeah, he's famous in both.
I think of like Jamie Foxx.
Oh, Jamie Foxx.
But he has one album. I mean, it's one. I mean, Will Smith is, like you said, over the years and years and years.
Childish Gambino?
Oh, yeah.
So he's also like, he said his inspiration was Kanye the same way. So Kanye, he wanted to, I don't know, you haven't watched the documentary yet?
Nope. I'll watch it. I'm sorry.
That one he talks about, like, no, you don't have to watch it.
Put me on blast every time.
He's like, I want to create more. I want to get into fashion, do this. He was talking about this years ago. Then now he has big brand. So the same thing with Gambino. He used a rap career to kind of blow up his whole image, but that's not what he wanted to do. He was already a writer for 30 Rock. He was a writer for SNL. He started as an actor for the show Community. Now he's writing his own show, Atlanta. The third season just came out. And then on top of that, he makes music. He has rap albums.
And he uses like R&B. Multiple names, right? Like he's not Childish Gambino.
So Childish Gambino, the way that came out was on the Wu-Tang Clan name generator.
Yep.
And he typed in his name, and then it came out as Childish Gambino, and then he ended up using that as the rap name, which he kind of said a couple years ago he was going to step away from the Childish Gambino. It was just like he was playing like that character.
So my point was more like if he had used the same name across all the genres, his fame might have grown in a similar fashion. When Will Smith is Will Smith, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess, the Fresh Prince, but I mean, everybody knew who that was, right? And it's like, so, that kind of thing. There were some good memes that came out of this too, as far as like,
a lot of memes.
I really liked the tweet that said like they're sending him to live with his aunt and uncle in Bel Air. He got into one little fight, I thought that was pretty good, that was funny.
I saw the one that's the Batman and Robin when he slaps him, and then they just switch it to that one, or they'll be like anxiety and then hitting you like every time.
Yeah, Monday morning, like the weekend. Yeah, no, I thought some of those were pretty clever. I always like that. The internet's undefeated for a reason. You know what I mean? It's like
it was such a shocking moment. I was actually watching. I was one of the like 7 people watching it live, and it happened. We're like, wait, what happened? What happened? And as soon as it happened, we had to get on Twitter just to see it. And then everyone's like, wait, did he just do that? And then people were like rewinding it. Then it was like muted because they cut out the feed because
you had to watch the Japanese edit.
Yeah, the Japanese edit or the
Japanese edit caught it's like major views on that, right?
So that was so shocking.
Yeah, it was something I think nobody expected, right? Something very, very unexpected.
Did you watch any of the movies that were nominated for Best Picture?
Absolutely not. I don't watch movies.
You don't watch any movies?
I don't really watch movies, no. I mean, if I watch them, if I'm like on an airplane or if I'm trapped somewhere, like I have to. No, I don't really. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but
I watched like one of them.
I don't watch very many movies at all, especially now with the advent. I mean, I spend too much time on things that I like actually care to learn about or watch or catch. Like even most shows these days, not like dramatic TV. I don't think there's very many dramatic TV shows I watch at all either. But even when it's coming like Sports Center and stuff like that, most times I'm like watching the highlight clips on YouTube more than watching the full thing. I'll watch some. I'll watch some Bill Maher. What's that? Politically
like monologue.
Yeah, I watch his show. Like I watch it because he cuts like the whole show up. But
that's like so underrated when it comes to you're talking about the Laker games. I started watching that like years ago where like I'm not gonna sit there for 2.5 hours watching the game when I could just watch like the 5-minute highlight or the 10-minute highlight that shows you the best parts or all the scoring and you're like, oh, that was a crazy game. It is an event when you watch it with other people though. I get it, like it's a whole community.
Yeah,
feel.
absolutely.
And then the emotions of the room when a crazy bucket's happening or something.
Yeah, sure, of course.
It saves a lot of time though.
I think also there's like camaraderie in like your city. right? Like I've always thought like one of the coolest things, for example, obviously Lakers again, here we go. But one of the cool things about going to Laker games is, at least to me, one of my favorite things is if they win, when they win, you know, the confetti drops or whatever. But it's not just that. It plays I Love LA, right? And just the moment you hear the keys, like, do you even know the song I'm talking about?
No.
Oh my God. How about you over there?
I know.
Do you know the song,
California
Brian?
Love.
Brian, just say no. It's okay. I see the face you're making. He doesn't know it either. Holy crap. Okay, so California Love is dope. Don't get me wrong. I'm definitely not going to. We'll come back to California Love because there's something else we need to add. But they play I Love LA, which is a song by Randy Newman. Randy Newman, I think I hope I'm saying his name right. I think he's most well known for writing like Disney songs. But the song is all about how great LA is. I hope you pick it up and drop like, you know, however many seconds we're allowed to use without getting in trouble. Because it's like, it's all about how LA is this great place to live, even though it talks about like the bums and the dirtiness. And, you know, it talks about everything, the beaches, the beautiful women. And then it just is like, I love LA. Ba-na-na-na. It's a great song. It's a great song. Anyways, now that I've gone through all that for nothing with these young guys. Just cut that part out. No big deal. Okay. Before I forget though, because you brought up California Love. And this is something I talked about with my lovely assistant, Marlene, in my law office this morning. Why does Jada get to claim like Tupac's forever girlfriend status? Like, why is she the one thought of as like, you know, if Tupac was alive or whatever? Because like,
she belongs to the streets. Bro.
But yeah. Oh man, you're gonna get slapped, bro. You better be careful. No, what I'm saying,
Will Smith, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, bro.
Angel, you're a lot bigger than Chris Rock. I don't think he wants that. No, but in all seriousness, though, when Tupac, from my recollection, when Tupac was alive, he made the movie Poetic Justice. He seemed very in love with Janet Jackson. He seemed to have a lot of desire to spend quality time with Janet Jackson, if you know what I mean. And so, I don't recall there being a lot of Jada. And like, there's no way that it's like people are going to say like, oh, maybe she wasn't famous. No. He was so big. Any woman standing by his side like became famous. I think of like Tyreek Hill on his on the private jet. Do you see the picture of him when he got traded to Kansas from Kansas City to Miami? There's like some gorgeous woman next to him. Next thing you know, like, who's this woman? It's like all over the internet that who she is and we know everything. So I think of it that way. Like Jada, I don't know why or how she gets to claim like Tupac's lady. And I don't think I'm the one who should be objecting to that, but I'm objecting to it.
I don't know. Sometimes it just happens. Like, I don't know enough about the relationship or why that happened, but
well, then let it be known that I'm Rihanna's dude. I mean, let's just put that out in the universe. My apologies to, you know,
bro.
I apologize to all the women who I should be showing more respect to than that on this podcast. But generally speaking, I mean, if all you have to do is say it to make it real, let's get to saying things.
There is a whole thing about like Kanye, going back to Kanye, he just did a thing with Julia Fox. He literally brought her like
is that Uncut Gems? Is that her?
Yeah, Uncut Gems girl. Exactly. Everyone knew her as the girl from Uncut Gems, and then she started dating Kanye for like a month, like a PR stunt for her and for Kanye to like get back at Kim or whatever. And then she I don't know how many millions of like followers and impressions she got just from dating Kanye for a week or a month. Like,
nothing makes me happier than when I know some random piece of like current pop culture and I reference it and you're like, yeah, that I know, that's it. Like that makes me feel good. Makes me feel good. It makes me like gray hairs turn black. But yeah, no, I didn't really even know they were like dating or whatever. I know her from the TikTok like meme that went viral. I mean, I watched the movie. I enjoyed Uncut Gems. I thought it was a really good movie.
Really good.
I didn't even know that was her in it. I mean, I hate to say it like that. I knew her only from the Uncut Gems. Like that's literally that's the only thing I knew her from. And then after that went viral, did I put together that she is A, the girl in the movie, and B, you know, dating Kanye West for all of about like 5 minutes, you know? Yeah. So like, I mean, I learned about that backwards.
Well, I mean, you made the connection and maybe that happened. The same thing with Jada Pinkett. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not big.
No, man, I'm not going to give her even that much credit. She was Josh Safdie's muse for Uncut Gems, right? I don't think Jada Pinkett was, you know, Tupac's muse for... well, I should be careful. I don't know what I'm talking about, so I'll just stop there.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what I'm talking about.
On next week's episode, we should have, you know, Tupac's mom to talk about what inspired his rap.
Yeah, Tupac expert. Oh, you know who Mills is a Tupac expert. I think Mills
the God.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's you make his rap videos, right?
Yeah, his music videos.
I've only seen a little bit of his stuff. I mean, I don't want to act like I know who he is. I just because Mills and I put together, that's who he is.
Yeah, he's a local artist here. Yeah, just
what's his song? What's the song of his that you like the most that we can like just put out here right now?
Best song he has is Familiar Faces intro.
Only the intro?
No, that's the song. The song is titled that. It's like 5 minutes.
Damn, those black hairs just turned gray again, homie. Got it.
Well, that one, or a lot of people's favorites, is called there's a couple that people really like, but Lunar Eclipse is one that people really like. It's more like a love song.
Okay.
It's like a little more R&B type of song, and a lot of people really...
Does he like sing and rap?
He sings and raps. He's barely getting into the singing, but his rap game is crazy. Like he's one of the most creative persons. Like his pop culture references are out of control.
Okay.
Like he just goes crazy.
I had a kid in my class that is one of the guys in Exact Opposites. I don't know if you know who they are. They're like a local rap duo. But I don't know their music. I can't lie. I mean, they let I used one of their tracks like in an episode of my vlog, which doesn't really mean anything, but like just kind of trying to help and shout out, get any ears on their music.
That's an interesting thing
cool.
with like how Gary Vee used to do that, like putting like local or smaller artists on all his like little daily vlogs.
Yeah, totally.
I've done that before, but I don't really vlog anymore.
Well, we got to get Mills the God to drop a little Angel and the Advocate. That's what it do. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about you. What? See, I'm not a rapper, clearly.
That's better than I would do. I can't rhyme for anything, man. We were at a local.
Whatever you say next has to rhyme now, just like a Dr. Seuss right here, right?
We were at a local comedy show this weekend. It was Brian's first comedy show, so there was like a mini festival that they threw right here at the Coachella Valley Brewing Company, and it was like the first one where they brought in like probably like 30-40 comedians from the Valley, San Diego, LA, and they had 3 different like rooms around the brewery and like rotating throughout the day. So that was really interesting, and I didn't know there was a comedy scene here, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a comedy scene here. I didn't even know that happened. So, maybe they need
better help marketing.
They need a little help getting the word out. No, I mean, I heard Brothers Main Lobster Truck was there like on Sunday or something. I don't eat that, but a couple of my friends had gone, and I guess the line was crazy, but that's about all I know about what was going on at CB Brew.
They did one, I think like a Cat City Festival. They were there a few years ago, the lobster people.
I know Little Bar, right? Over there on 111. You've been to Little Bar?
I heard of it, but I've never been there.
Yeah, so they've had a couple comedy nights. I don't think they're doing it anymore, but they were doing some comedy nights where they had a couple comedians come out and stuff like that. It's a pretty cool spot. It's a little bar, right? It can only hold so many people, but it's a cool spot, a very cool spot. You should definitely check it out. They have
you
a pretty.
Thought about doing comedy or any like, or you said that you wanted to be a host.
Oh, here we go. Really? You're gonna do this to me? You're gonna do this to me, Angel? Really? Let me finish on Little Bar. Little Bar's got a good burger. You should definitely go there and try the burger. And they have a drink called the Tamarindio, which is a fantastic. I kind of want one right now. All right, so. Being a comedian, I think I'm afraid to talk to nobody. Like the lack of interaction, I think it makes it very difficult. I don't think people realize how hard it is to talk to no one. It's not the same as talking to yourself, because you can't just talk gibberish or like, I need to get the damn groceries. It's not like that. You have to kind of carry a conversation with nobody.
Just do improv, just crowd work, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I want to see you do crowd work first.
I feel like you would be great at crowd work.
You see, a lot of people say that, but I appreciate it. Like, don't get me wrong. And even the people that say that, I mean, I have a note in my phone called Comedy Bits, because I've told a friend of mine that like before I die, I'll do like an open mic, but I've never done an open mic.
So you're here first. We're gonna do an open mic.
Stop it. We're not doing open mic.
Record it, put it
Stop it. Stop it. Did you know? Listen. Did you know that during COVID, this is the only joke you can find on my Instagram page. During COVID, true story. They like locked up people's dogs because they thought that dogs were able to transmit COVID, and then they found out that wasn't true. They found that was a completely false thing, and so somebody had to go and like release these dogs. And all I'm asking people is, who let the dogs out? Who? See how terrible that joke is? See, that's what you want to do? That's what you want to do to me? I'm not going to let you do that to me, right? And listen, that's a horrible joke. I'm only repeating it because it's that bad and that's how much I like it, right? But no, I mean, the stand-up comedy thing is not happening anytime
I have a
soon.
thing on my notes too of comedy bits. I have a thing on my notes, comedy, like, but it's mostly things that my wife does.
Oh, nice.
Every time she does something like goofy or something that's hilarious, I write the story down to always have it there. So I always tell her she should be a comedian. So I'm writing all these jokes, so whenever you decide to actually try it, I have all this material for you.
You're just gonna take the stage and be like, ladies and gentlemen, my wife, and like you bring her out like the Borat, my wife. You could like do a little more like that, but yeah, just bring her out and have her do her wife tricks or whatever you want to call them. I hope she doesn't hate me for that. Sorry, I'm apologizing in advance.
Nah, she's cool.
No, I mean, I always thought it would be fun to like host things. I always enjoy hosting events. I've had the pleasure of being like the moderator, as they call it, for Leadership Coachella Valley's like lunch events and programs where I got to interview like Dick Heckman, rest in peace, passed away. He was a former owner of the Phoenix Suns and owned a water company. Let's just keep it general here. I don't want to get too detailed, but yeah, he was very, very well-to-do, very smart businessman, very active all the way up until his untimely passing, if you will. And yeah, he's a resource that's missed. I've also had a chance to interview other people like sheriffs, deputies, and other people in important places, if you will, or positions through that program. And then I've always kind of like I've mentioned to you and what you're putting me on blast on. Like I was the pep rally guy in high school. Like I think Jimmy Fallon, Jay Leno had like the greatest jobs ever. You come out, do like 10 minutes of jokes, have a seat on a couch, talk to someone about like what they're doing, like keep it light, keep it funny. I think that's a great gig. Now people are like, oh, if you weren't a lawyer, what would you be doing? Like that's always like a fun question. And I'll be the host of the Tonight Show. There's only one host of the Tonight Show though, and Jimmy Fallon's pretty good at it.
Hey, so we learned the theme. You got to create your own Tonight Show.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it is. That's what this is right here. It's our podcast. Is my Today Show, Tonight Show. Does that make you like Ed McMahon? Like if I'm the Johnny Carson, are you the Ed McMahon, or are you the Johnny Carson? I'm the Ed McMahon.
I don't know who you're talking about.
See, more black hair has just turned gray. Are you the Conan O'Brien or the Andy Richter? Does that help?
Yeah, I know Conan.
Okay, so remember that guy that used to sit on the couch next to him all the time?
Oh yes,
that's Andy Richter.
Okay.
So back before them, there was Johnny Carson on the Johnny Carson show.
And then there was a
the guy next to him was Ed McMahon. Not just Ed McMahon, bro. That guy's a legit star in his own right. So anyway,
I know TikTok stars, but I don't know. I know Mr. Beast.
Okay, so you know what? So what's funny is I bet you some of these old classic comedy bits. Like there was this great comedy bit from Johnny Carson called Karnak the Magnificent. He would put on probably a culturally inappropriate joke today, but he used to put on like a headdress, like a turban, and have like a jewel in the middle of it, and then he would basically say something. I wish I knew one of the jokes. I could do it right now, but I don't know him. But he would basically say like the punchline. It would make no sense. And then he would tear open like an envelope, and then he'd read the inside of the envelope, and it was like the front side of the joke. Like all of a sudden it made whatever he just said funny.
Yeah.
Right? And like those would be great TikToks today. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that would still like transfer to today's thing. There's just nobody cutting it, editing it. There's no value in it today.
Untapped market. We're going to have to tap into that.
We're going to do our own Ed McMahon, Johnny Carson.
Who did that one? Oh, Dave Chappelle did that one of his specials. He said a joke. And he's like, and I punched her in the.
Oh yeah, oh that's a great one.
and then everyone's like, that's the punchline. Yeah. And then he told a whole like a 10-minute story, and then that was the end.
I love how he says that. I know you think this can't be funny. Just wait. Yeah, no. There's a lot of really funny things. Isn't Chappelle the one that? I don't know what our age demographic is for this, but isn't he the one that tells the joke about like the pregnant stripper, and then he's like, hey baby, like the babies with the. Anyways,
I don't, maybe I know.
God, I hope it's him, because if it's not, I got some explaining to do.
Hey man, it's there's so much pop culture now. You can't keep up with everything. But
yeah, exactly. Which is probably why Chris Rock had no idea about her hair falling out being like an issue. Yeah, he probably just thought she shaved her head or some shit.
And it's a joke, and Will Smith laughed too. So Will Smith thought it was funny until he
I can't believe nobody like went and made sure Chris Rock was okay though. Like no one ever went and checked on him. Like no, I
think people were like, wait, did that happen? Until he's like, keep my wife's name out your mouth. I think that's when people realized it wasn't part of the show. Because sometimes,
could you imagine if Chris Rock were like bum rushed him or something, or like swung back? Like that would have been crazy.
Yeah, that would have been insane. That would have been crazy. People would have stepped in. Like yeah. I think
Diddy would have came in and been like, oh.
They had a moment.
Why was Diddy the one introducing the Godfather stuff? By the way, like what? What?
It doesn't make the Oscars don't make sense. They said at the commercial break, Denzel Washington and Tyler Perry went to talk to Will Smith because he was crying like on the side.
Don't you think? I mean, I have a lot of mean random jokes, but like, what's Tyler Perry doing in that conversation? Like, hey, you two, tell me what's up.
Hey, Tyler Perry is
no, I know
huge.
he's done.
I don't like his stuff. But
he's produced a lot of other stuff. I get it.
This guy's own network. Like he's got like $1 billion business already.
No, I know. I'm just making fun of the star power. Right? Yeah, like that's Denzel, baby. Like that's Will Smith and who? But no, I'm playing. Obviously, I know his not in front of the camera is kind of where
brand,
his really
he created just. He has like 20 movies like a year that nobody watches, but somehow somebody's watching.
Somebody's watching. It's kind of a crazy thing too if you think about it. Like there could be entire massive industries that you know about that I know nothing about, and they're still enormous, and they make incredible sums of money serving significant numbers of people, and then just somebody else might like literally know nothing about it. I mean, it's just
I love that. I love that about the world right now. There's when it comes to like YouTubers, or content creators, someone will be like, "Oh, have you checked out this podcast or have you checked out this YouTube channel or something?" And like I've never even heard of it, and I'm like, "Oh, they have 10 million subscribers." Like,
yeah, I mean that's funny. That's what happens with me. Like when I'll reference Gary Vee, like everybody knows who he is, and then people are like, "Who's that? Your buddy or something?" Like, that's kind of funny. I'm like, actually, he's my friend. No, but I mean,
I took a picture with them. Like,
yeah, right. But I mean, it's that's definitely an interesting thing. I mean, there could be a whole bunch of followers, a whole bunch of subscribers, and then people have
the world's big enough for everybody. So that's why I always tell people when they're like, "I want to create content, but I don't know if someone's gonna watch or who's gonna watch this." I'm like, there's probably like 2-3 billion people actively on phones consuming content, and it's only gonna grow.
It's the wrong. If you're making content for views, you're doing it wrong. If you're
I'm saying there's an audience for everyone.
But if you're doing it for the views, you're doing it wrong. If in everything in life, if you're doing it for the other people and not for yourself, you're doing it wrong. I mean, here's the serious tone all of a sudden, right? But like literally, I don't care who you are, what you do for a living. If you're chasing money, think about what the word chase means. What happens when you chase something? It goes away from you. When you chase a woman, she's running away from you. Yeah. Like I always use this woman analogy because like as a guy, if you ask a lady out and like, hey, what are you doing on Friday night, right? And like you pause and let them answer. But if all of a sudden you fill that little gap, what are you doing Friday night? And it goes quiet. What are you doing Friday night? And that silence, if it freaks you out, if all of a sudden you fill that silence with, how about Saturday at lunch? How about Saturday dinner? How about Sunday lunch? How about Sunday dinner? How about Monday lunch, right? If you like chase it, I guarantee you she's saying no, right? And so I kind of think of the same thing. Like I've said this with money before. If you don't chase money, let the money chase you, right? If you're chasing something, it's gonna go the opposite direction of you. So I don't believe there is a way to make content for the views and have it be successful. If you already have a following, if you've already created a following with your own unique content and now you want to chase the views of your audience, that's different. But the whole process of building an audience, and I have no room to talk here because I've never built an audience more than I think 540 on my YouTube channel. But to me, it seems like a waste to try to chase views. I don't believe it's sustainable. Like you might be able to get those followers in the short term, but I don't believe that you will be able to create
a connection. At all.
And you're not going to be able to chase forever. You're going to get tired of chasing.
That's what like all those like pranksters. That's those channels where they would do fake pranks of like Lamborghinis to pick up chicks. And all those channels burned out because they were all fake and staged. They would pay like models.
How many times can you watch a guy be like, "Hey, girl, want to go out sometime?" And her be like, "No." And then the Lambo pulls up, and then they're like, "Oh, yeah." And it's like, you know that's not real.
I know, but kids, they're
if the kids are listening,
targeting like 12-year-olds that don't.
To all the 12-year-olds out there, it ain't that easy, bro. If it was that easy, there'd be a lot more Lamborghinis on the street. You know what I mean? It's not that easy. It's not that easy. It's just not. Like,
yeah, but it's. So chasing the views is not that's not what I was trying to get to. I was saying you could create something and people will come to the whatever you create. So it's like,
yeah, absolutely.
So people are scared to start. People are scared to even start a TikTok account or, there's even.
What do you think they're afraid of when you say they're scared? I mean, I was there one day, so I don't want to act like I don't know what I'm talking about. Like this is something I actually felt.
They're scared of like judgment. They're scared of no one watching. They're scared of wasting their time. I don't know.
I think they're mostly scared of looking stupid.
Looking stupid.
Yeah, and like looking stupid meaning whatever they film and post makes them look stupid, like or they don't look like as right. But I also think like that low view count makes people feel like their content's negative.
Yeah.
Right. And it's interesting for me because, when I was posting my, 160 whatever vlog episodes, there were times where I thought like, oh, this is going to be a big one. And then like it didn't. And then other times I posted and was like, this is all right. And then it got a ton of views. So It's like I learned pretty quickly that like trying to grade your own material or whatever may not be the best thing. You know, I think it's, you know, going back to the stand-up thing, you hear comedians, they go to like showcases where they tell their like jokes that they're working on, or they're trying to improve their material. They don't do it in front of a mirror.
Yeah, you have to put yourself out there.
Yeah, you got to try it. Yeah. So I think when you said earlier, you know, you said you didn't mean chase, but I look at it more like the difference between chase and invite. When you're doing your own thing, you're inviting people to watch it, right? When you're chasing the views, you're like trying to do what you think they want to see.
Yeah.
Right. And I think, you know, I agree with you. I don't think we disagree.
There's something cool about just creating the content. You put it out there, and then you learn from every time you do something, you learn about yourself, you know, because you're editing or you see it played back. Oh, I should have done this different. Oh, I should have done this different. Yeah, like, but if you never put it out, you're never going to know what to improve.
Like when you watch it the next day and you're like, damn, I should have just sat in my chair and stared at the comedian and made a mean face instead of getting up there and slapping some fool on the Oscars, right? So maybe you're making content when you don't even realize you're making content, but you still get to play it back and watch it and see it, you know? So, I mean, that's there for sure. That's there for sure. And I mean, it's all about how you want to look at not just the content, but the creative side of it. If the journey itself you can learn from, right? If you can build on your own skill set from what you're doing, then the views are secondary. You know, and in my Unbillable vlog, in my experience making the vlog, a lot of times I learned little skill sets from making the vlogs. Now, I didn't edit my own stuff. Shout out to Luis, right? I didn't have to edit my own stuff, and I obviously wasn't holding my own camera. I had like a camera guy that edited for me, right? And I've never been shy about that either. You know, I try to be real with it. That's why it looks so glossy, because a lawyer's not editing this, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, there were topics and specifics that I would talk about in the episodes, and sometimes Luis would ask me a question, or even in the process of talking about it, a question would come up, and then it would like help me better understand the topic that I'm discussing. And then later on, when it comes up in my practice, that's like I know it a little better. So whether that video gets views or not doesn't matter. I've already gotten a benefit out of the act of creation. And for me also,
do you ever have those moments where you're like, oh, we're gonna talk about this topic, and you kind of have to like refresh your memory on the topic, and then you remember things about it, or you learn something new about the certain topic?
Yeah, almost,
and it keeps you fresh.
Almost every time I was at least taking a look at something, because I never wanted to say something on there that was wrong. So if we went into any kind of specifics on, you know, like what is a quit claim deed, then I definitely kind of took a minute to look it over and make sure the things I intended to say were accurate and I wasn't leaving out anything big or important. So like almost every single episode, you know, had that. And even the episodes where it was off the cuff and I just randomly started talking about some legal principle I wasn't planning to talk about, before we would post it, I would go back and check it and make sure, because again, there's nothing worse, you know, than being wrong. And to be honest, I mean, one of the interesting things about the legal field is like you can get a ruling from a court and make an episode of a vlog about it, only to have it appealed, have it change, and now your vlog is stale, right? Your vlog is, the content is incorrect. And I had that happen on one of the topics that we were talking about, right?
They changed the law or what?
Yeah, there was an episode we made about AB5 that got rid of like independent contracting, and I talked about the ruling, and then I talked about how truckers were going to fight it. It ended up becoming like 3 or 4 different episodes, but because it kept changing, because the fight was actually raging. But I recognize that's not the kind of content I want to create. I don't want to be like reporting on the ongoing changes, and I don't really want to be debating like the values personally. That wasn't my goal for the content. My goal for the content was more like educating, knowing the rules of the game so you can be better at the game, as opposed to debating what the rules of the game should be, right? So, but again, my point was none of that content, when I first started making that vlog, none of it was catered to anybody. I was getting bored with the monotony and the non-creative aspects of being a lawyer. I wanted to add something creative. I kept hearing people tell me that it's too expensive to talk to a lawyer. It's not worth it to pay the consultation fee. And I was like, all right, fine. We're just going to take random topics that come through the door and talk about them. And that was kind of the genius of it, you know?
Yeah, now that it
and
creative,
I gotta be careful.
Edge.
The genius and not that genius. I mean, it never really took off, right? But I think to some degree, I think I've come to the understand that it never took off because it lacked a story. I think I created like an encyclopedia of content.
Think it's also the Gary Vee principle. It's like you got to do it for 10 years, and then
ain't nobody got 10 years, Angel. What you talking about?
You do it for 10 years, and good shit's gonna happen.
No, I don't think that's true, man. I don't think that's true. I'm just gonna say that that's not true. If you make 10 years of content and get 50 views on all 10 years, you made a mistake by not changing it.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I'm 2 years deep. I see the growth. I see kind of what has hit and what hasn't hit. I have some ideas on how and why to change it, but I'm not motivated to change it, and so I haven't posted a video on that channel in a year.
Yeah, but what if you kept posting?
I did keep posting for 2 years.
Yeah, but you've stopped like 6 months ago or whatever.
I stopped a year ago.
So
Yeah.
if you,
Because at that point,
there could have been another 100 videos that would have elevated your content.
Absolutely, but it could have been another 100 videos that kept it the same too. I mean, that's
no, but it's not. That's not. There's a compound effect though, because every time you drop a new video, it brings traffic to your older videos.
But it's not a guarantee that any of that is going to turn into anything. Like, I'm not saying that people should quit and give up. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you got to self-evaluate and evolve. If you sell corn dogs, right, and you're only selling like 5 a day, and you need to sell more than that, you want to sell 15 a day. Well, at some point you got to wonder, like, all right, my corn dogs aren't good enough. Like, I got to make better corn dog batter. I got to use better materials. Maybe I should start selling chips. Maybe, yeah, whatever. But there's something wrong with it. And so for me, like, I think till to this day, I actually talked to Luis today, which is kind of funny about this being talked about now. I like the content. I like the way it looks. I like the information that's in it. Could it have been marketed better? Could it have been spread the word better? Probably, sure. But at the same time, like, I never made a single episode to be Mr. Beast. The goal was never 1 million subscribers. That wasn't what I was doing. I was doing it like in a weird way for myself, to fulfill a couple things, my own creativeness, the whole like lawyers are like assholes vibe, right? Like push back against that, just show what it's really like to be a lawyer, showcase the desert a little bit. It wasn't, the goal was never to like monetize it. I want to monetize this place, right? This is my law office. This is where I'm monetizing this stuff, right? And I don't mean the podcast. I mean, like,
of course.
We're in AFSAR Law Group's building right now, right? So I mean, monetizing my law practice.
The more videos and the more you're creating more traffic to your law practice.
I agree.
And maybe you don't want to monetize it because you're chasing the money, but that could lead you to create even more content because you could hire 3 videographers and try.
There's nothing wrong with thinking it's not good enough. And I don't think it's good enough. I don't think my content's good enough. It's just at some point you evaluate your own content, and that's where I'm at with it. I don't believe there is a audience for exactly what I was making. I think if I tweak it, I look at other popular attorneys. They are not talking about the laws. They are talking about the pop culture. And when they do talk about the laws, they're talking about really entry level and basic and fundamental laws that might affect the everyday person, from like DUIs or not talking at a police stop. It's also a lot of criminal related. I don't do criminal. So, I mean, again, I'm not trying to say that like lawyers can't be popular none of that. I'm saying that I evaluated my own content. I believe Luis was doing an exceptional job. I think the editing was on point. I think that the glossy final product was on point. I think the music was good. I thought, the speed, everything was good. I thought the content, the material we were talking about was good. The audience never watched it. There's a lot of shows out there on TV that were good shows and people didn't watch it, didn't resonate. And I think my content doesn't resonate, and it's okay. I hope to reshuffle the Rubik's Cube and make something new at some point. I'm not really there yet at this exact. I mean, maybe this is something that's new, right? But I mean, as far as Unbillable goes, I learned a lot. I'm glad I did it. Will I do it again? Maybe, possibly. No promises yes, no promises no. I'm in between on it, but I'm proud of the episodes that are there. And at the same time, I think it needs to be shuffled if I want to. If the goal is to grow the viewership in the channel, then it should be reshuffled. And for right now, to be honest with you, straight up respect to Luis out there. I don't believe there's someone out there that's going to mesh with me as good as he did. So it's good to have a little break, right? Like, I mean, he's alive, okay? So don't take this the wrong way. But like when your dog dies, sometimes you need a little break. You don't just get a new dog the next day, right? It's like you need to reflect on your relationship and things. And not to make it sound too deep like that, but I'm just saying, like, straight respect to Luis. The problem wasn't the editing. The problem wasn't that I'm not super motivated to find a new guy to film and edit, because I think there does need to be some tweaking in the underlying. And I wish Luis well. We talked today. I literally sent him a picture of my Chipotle and a text that said, "Wish you were here, buddy," because he used to joke around about how we'd like always end up at Chipotle. And today I kind of randomly ended up at Chipotle after like a 3.5 hour meeting that I thought would be like an hour long. So, and he responded. He's making content for a law firm, believe it or not, and that's great. They're not posting it right now because I guess they're changing the name of the firm or whatever. But the moment I have it, I'll put the name out here. I mean, it's nothing but love between Luis and I, at least from me to him. I hope to God it seems as far as I know, right? He's just not here to say it. But it's nothing but respect. But in your business, whatever it is, similar to the content, you need to be always evaluating. The idea that you just need to stay open longer if you build it, they will come is not true. It's just not true. Too many businesses have come and gone for you to know that it's just not true. Staying open or just making content in and of itself won't do it. You need to make it better. If you want to grow your viewership, you need to make your content better. If you want to grow your, number of people that are coming to your hardware store, you need to make your hardware store better, or get the word out about the greatness of your hardware store, or get the word out about the greatness of your content.
I want to do like analogy to comedy when it comes to.
I'm not doing an open mic, dude.
But it's like you get better as a comedian by doing 1,000 open mics and working on your jokes every time. So you just need to make more content till your content gets better, because you're gonna get better the more you do.
What happens?
Because like you're saying, the content you had, if you would have done it like another 2 years, in next year's content would have been like 10 times better than the content from 2019 or whatever.
Okay, but what I'm saying
that's what I'm trying to say is like, you're saying your content, even though it's good or whatever, there wasn't an audience, but I feel like you're making content that are some of them are searchable. You mentioned somebody was looking at a wedding venue and someone happened to come across your video. Like if you had 100 of those videos, that's 100 different people, and you start building it little by little. The internet's so big that you'll eventually create an audience. I know that's not the goal, but it's just like it will happen naturally.
Well, it's not making
great videos.
It's not the goal, but it's like, that's when it's going to keep you doing it, so to speak, right? But again, I don't think on a fundamental level we don't disagree. But I think at the end of the day, though, you do need to continue to evaluate and make it better. If you make the same thing every day, it's not getting better just because you're making the same thing every day. You might be able to make it faster, but the underlying thing is the same. You see what I'm trying to say? Mm-hmm. Like, so with the comedy,
it's different editing techniques, different styles of videos.
Straight out, I'm being as real as I can be here. I don't think the problem was editing.
No, not just like the actual editing. Is what I mean is like, it's because there's so many things that I've learned from my personal YouTube channel. So
if I wanted to grow my YouTube channel, I needed to make it more about like relevant current events mixed with law instead of just law. But I didn't want to do that. I don't want to talk about like the movie and how, what are the claims that, could be made against Spider-Man when he like swings through your office window to save the girl or whatever. Like the content that's out there by so many like pop culture reference lawyers talking about, like, even at the beginning of this, the battery and that's what we're talking about. Like that kind of stuff is more interesting to the general population. That is not what I was making. I'm not ready, or I don't want, or I'm not interested in turning my vlog into that pop culture driven legal network, right? I kind of wanted to be more encyclopedia-ish. But over the course of time, I think that Unbillable, I'm not saying it's dead, but it lived its little course, and it's potentially on a pause right now, but it might be dead. I mean, it might just be that it never wakes up from the nap that it's in. I don't know right now. I know that I enjoy making this podcast. That's why we're still doing it. And so, we'll see where this leads, and that's how I look at it. But every time we make one, I listen to it, I evaluate it, and we go on to the next one. And that's what I do with Unbillable. When I lost Luis, I know there's other high quality editors out there. No offense to my man, right? I know there's other people that can do a really good job as well, but that in and of itself wouldn't be enough. Luis and I were talking about changing, evolving, doing things to Unbillable before it ever stopped being done. And then COVID and other things came up that kind of just accelerated its sort of conclusion, however you want to say that, right? But again, my point's not to say that like you shouldn't keep trying something. My point's to say that when you do the same thing over and over again and expect different results, they call that like insanity. Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to say. You gotta not do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. And I think I was doing a little bit of that. I mean, I could talk about different legal topics, but it's still me. It's still going here, going there. I mean, it's still kind of similar, but with different words coming out of my mouth. And like I said, I'm looking to change it up. If you have an idea, let me know. I'm always open to them. But,
it's the same thing like the Mr. Beast approach, the biggest content creator. So he was making different videos, made thumbnails better to be more clickable, which eventually, if you would have made more content, your thumbnails would have been more clickable. Even though you're not doing the pop culture with like a half naked chick on the thumbnail or whatever. I'm saying it's still related to the law practice. Better thumbnails over time. And then the retention in the video could have been a little bit better. You guys would have tried something different. That one video that you guys went out vlogging might have worked. You're like, oh, that concept, people really resonated with that. The watch time was more people are watching longer. Okay, let's do that for the next video.
I don't disagree with the concept of keeping going, right? Like that's on the underlying thing.
I don't care what
agree.
Amir says. Do not give up on your dreams, man. Do not give up.
Surrender your dreams to the dark side. No, I don't want you to give up. I don't want you to give up on your dream either, but I also don't want you to go homeless for it, right? Like I would have loved to be a quarterback. I mean, that just seems like it would have been so cool. You know, just, I don't know, man, just hut, and throw the ball and like, okay, fine, Odell, I'll throw it to you next time, you know? Like, it just seems like it'd be so cool to be the quarterback, right? I ain't the quarterback of nothing, right? It's never going to happen. Well, the shortest quarterback in the league's got to be like 5'8", like Doug Flutie probably back there, 5'8". Today's probably like 6 feet, 5'10". I'm 5'5". Right? I told you earlier that I know everything there is to know about basketball, and that's why I'm confident when I say Jordan, then Kobe, then LeBron. But I'm never shooting a shot for anybody with their life on the line, no matter how much I thought that would have been cool. Like, I just don't believe that if I would have spent all my time in the backyard shooting hoops like LeBron, that would have changed my NBA career. I would have remained a 5'5", right? So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you got to understand some limitations. Now, obviously with basketball, it's easy because it's like physical limitation, right? But when you're when you're shooting that shot and you're changing your shot and you've adjusted your shot and it ain't ever going in, maybe it's time to pick up a golf club. You know what I mean? Like, That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I would never deter anybody from trying to go after their dream, especially when it comes to like content creation, right? I mean, because hopefully at a minimum, you enjoy yourself. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. I had a great time making those episodes. I enjoyed myself making them too, right? But at a minimum, that should be it, is a joy that you get out of it. Now, how long you want to do it for? Now, you make your own videos, so you buy your camera, you edit your own stuff. I wasn't doing it like that. I had an employee, if you will, with Luis, not an employee, independent contractor. But the point being, I had someone I was paying to do the content, so there's a cost to it. The cost wasn't great, but at some point, you got to just kind of evaluate. If I put that money, time, and effort into something else, could I have a greater return? That's part of the conversation for me, right? And then, again, I think some things live their life and they move on. It could evolve into something else. Maybe we're looking at what it evolved into, because without it, you probably don't know who the heck I am. I mean, unless your tile company's got some problems you haven't told me about, you know? But I mean, so it always evolves. I always think that it's a good idea to shoot your shot, right? Yeah. And then if you get a rebound, shoot it again. So I'm with you, right? I'm with you. Try as long as you can. But at the same time, don't be afraid to evaluate it. Don't be afraid to make changes. And also, if you think it's time to stop, then you should stop. You should do what you want. Don't listen to Angel. Don't keep making episodes when you're sick and tired of doing it. Right? That's all I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah.
You yourself are going to know when there's sort of, I did not choose 167. I don't even know if that's the right number, but I definitely didn't choose like when it gets to this number, I'll stop. The outside world had influences and other things came to be. And like I said, it might still come back. You never know. You never know.
So that's a great way to wrap it up right there.
It might come back. You never know. But we know what will come back. Our subscribers and our viewers for next episode.
Thank you for listening to this Angel and the Advocate podcast. If you have any questions, submit them in the comments section below. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.